Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.
This is AHMED for IFL TV in association with MCK Global. Won't we say where we are? John, of course, you had your professional debut very recently, and I know you spoke to Coogan after, but it was just a brief chat straight after the fight.
Yeah.
So I thought you're in London anyway, it'd be good to get a word about the fight itself. But before that, how have you been since then? Obviously, it's a big thing to make a professional debut. How's life been since then?
Yeah, do you know what? It wasn't what was expected as such. I had a massive build up to the fight. A lot of eyes were on me. And listen, at the end of the day, I was buzzing. I got the win. I got my professional debut win. I went 1-0. And yeah, I to be fair, it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't what people expected, but I enjoyed the fight. Coming out, buzzing. And listen, there was a lot of things to come off and work on. And it was good just to get in there. Like I said, it was my first fight without a head guard. First fight in 10-ounce gloves. And still fighting a man. First time fighting someone older than myself properly. So yeah, it was a lot of learning curve. And yeah, massive move for me. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm glad to get it done and move on now. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, in the professional world of sport, and especially boxing, stick from fans is a major part of it, especially in boxing, as I said.
Yeah.
And I know you got quite a lot on the day.
I got lashed on it, mate. I got fucking lashed.
Of course, it wouldn't be fair for me to just sit here and say what they are saying, and they are saying that a lot of them felt like you lost the fight.
Yeah.
It's always difficult in a 4-rounder because you haven't got many rounds to play with. Some people had it a draw.
Yeah.
Have you watched the fight back, and what's your honest assessment of it?
Honest assessment, I still look at it like I won. When I was in the ring, I thought I won. I thought I made it too close, but the way I always looked at it, I took a couple of clean shots, but at the end of the day, the one with the busier work rate and the one who's throwing them more, to me, listen, I'm coming from an amateur background, so I'm going to be saying this, but I believe I was the busier fighter. His shots were cleaner, not a shadow of a doubt. Like, I'd give that to him. Everything he landed was like, oh, it's a big shot, but he only landed like 3 or 4. And to me, I was throwing them more. So personally, even watching it back, I still think I won the fight. And I thought how he and John Lewis scored it, 39-37, was couldn't have got no fairer. I thought that was dead on. I thought that was how it should have been, 2 rounds in it. And yeah, I honestly didn't think until I come out the ring, it was like this big uproar of what happened. But it's one of them things. Listen, fans are gonna. I went in there as a massive favourite. So when the underdogs give someone a very close fight, then the fans kind of jump on that wagon. And the commentary, listen, it didn't do me no favours the way they was scoring things. But it's one of them things. You move on, and that's all it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There's not saying anyone's wrong, not saying anyone's right. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And yeah, it's one of them things. You just move on.
Yeah, you was the favourite, of course, but do you think the fact that you was built up so much as well, hyped up, one of the best amateurs, etc., Eddie singing your praises before the fight, that didn't help because we expected so much of you?
Yeah, it is one of them ones. Do you know what I mean? Like before people went in there, a lot of people had never even watched an amateur fight. There's not a lot on YouTube of me. You have to dig deep to find them. So I just think a lot of people just they see Eddie Hearn bigging me up. They see Sam Jones. They see people in the boxing world bigging me up. Then they just jump on it, don't they? They go, oh well, this kid. Let me turn this off. It's pinged about 50 times. Yeah, they see that and they just jump on it, and it's a lot of pressure on UMAR. Going in there at 18, and especially standing in fight camp 4 or 5 days away from your family, not having my dad in the corner, just little silly things. But I'm kind of glad I've got that out of the way with now in my first fights, and now we move on. Do you know what I mean? Now it's a whole new. I've always said it. Professional was always different from the amateurs, and it always will be. But I was going in there knowing that. So like now, it's just one of them things. You sit back, you assess your performance, you change the things that need changing, and you build up. And every day I'm getting a little bit mature. If you look at the video, first thing I notice, and I've seen my body 1,000 times, I look like a kid to him. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of them things. You sit back, you get a bit older, you get a bit more mature, and yeah, the vision's still the same. Do you know what I mean? It's still the same.
There wasn't any regrets after the fight of turning over too soon, was there?
No, not for myself. Definitely not. Like soon, I wanted to turn over. Listen. If I was still in the amateurs now, I swear to you, I'd packed up. There's nothing going on. Europeans and world's been set back till next year again. Listen, I'd have got fat, I'd have not got up. And I look at some of the boys, that's exactly what's happened. Do you know what I mean? I think you boys have just wasted your talent. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I had If I had 3 fights, it's not going to happen. But if, say, you did have 3 fights as a pro now and then didn't box to 2025, you're still a kid. Do you know what I mean? You're still a kid in the boxing and you've had that experience. But the way I look at it is I've turned over young. I've had a hard first fight, but I've got through that hard first fight. So in a way, that's a dream thing to happen. You've had it hard straight away. You've had all these haters. You've had all the critics. So I've got that right from the start. So everything now is only a bonus. Do you know what I mean? So I'm only going to learn. I'm only going to get praise. So it's been good.
What did you make of Jan Ardon's comments after the fight? Did you see them?
Yeah, I didn't see him properly. He just seemed like gutted and he was just crying a bit and things like that. And listen, nothing taken away from Jan Ardon. Do you know what I mean? He took that on a Sunday night, and that's when obviously the opponent got changed. So listen, he's a fit man. He was 24, 25-year-old. He was a fit man, and you could tell what he was. He was a fitness freak. Even if he wasn't in fighting shape, he was ready, wasn't he? And yeah, listen, we and Sam's already said, let me have a couple more fights. Let me get me rounds in the bank, and we'll give him the rematch, 100%. I'm happy to. And yeah, so if you're watching this, Jan, you'll get the rematch, mate. I promise you.
Don't want you to sit here and make excuses for yourself, but the fact that it was a southpaw and a very small super middleweight, and you wouldn't have been preparing for that. You wouldn't have been sparring for a type of fight like that. Did that play a factor?
To be honest, without making excuses, yeah, it made a massive thing. Like, I swear to God, on the camera now, that Sunday night we sat there and we was umming and ahhing whether to take the fight. My pro debut, I've had all this hype. Am I going to look good? Yes, I had no doubt, like, in this world, was I going to win. I knew whatever happens in boxing, yeah, I promise you now, I'll find a way of winning. But sitting back on that Sunday night, we stood there, me and my dad, Sam on the phone, and he's going, it's one of them ones, like, you're better than this fella and you're going to beat him and all this job, but he's a southpaw. Is that really what you want in your professional debut? And we looked into it, and he wasn't a journeyman. He had only been beat off undefeated fighters, and it was like one of them ones, like, I'm and ahhing. And on a professional debut, ideally, you should know who you're fighting, and you shouldn't have to and ah. It should just be, yeah, like, that's who's getting beat. I'm in there. I've had perfect sparring, perfect camp, and we're going to go in there and do the business. So, yeah, like, but that just explains what boxing is, UMAR, doesn't it? Like, everything isn't plain sailing, and I'm only going to learn from it. Do you know what I mean? I'm only going to learn. In preparation for that, I had 40 rounds with Robbie Chapman and Orthodox come forward. Complete difference. Great fighter, but complete different to what I boxed. And it's one of them ones, isn't it?
You admitted yourself that you felt like you were busier, did more work, but the cleaner shots came from him.
Most definitely.
When you were shipping them shots, did you ever feel like he's getting my attention here? How did you felt like you reacted to when them clean shots landed on you?
Do you know what? I'm quite confident in my chin, so I was never. I think I'm a little bit too confident in my chin. Like, I let the shots land and I didn't feel them. I just honestly, I felt fine, and I think maybe if I didn't, it would liven me up a bit more and got me into gear. Do you know what I mean? And that's all I needed. I needed a little wake up, like, fucking hell, like, get yourself going now, push on. You're not boxing, you should be boxing. But listen, it's one of them ones. I'm glad, as I keep saying, I'm glad it's there. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad I got 4 rounds in, and we move on from it. And I've got attention of a lot of professional boxers. Whether it's good comments or bad, they've all entitled to their own opinion, and they're mentioning my name. So as long as my name's out there, I could not care less. Do you know what I mean?
Did the stick off the fans affect you?
Nah. Listen, you coming out of the fight, seeing it all, you think, oh, I've done something wrong here, and I like Gentleman John, the one with all the praise, has now gone on the other foot. But it's one of them ones, isn't it? The fans are entitled to their opinion. At the end of the day, feel for me, people. I'm only 18, but listen, they're entitled to their own opinion. I'm sorry to the people who did think Jan Ardon won. Listen, like I say, you're entitled to it. But all I can say, I can sit here and say that I'll give him the rematch for, a couple of fights down the line, and that's my promise. I swear to that.
That's only fair enough. That.
Yeah, like, listen, it's not as much as they go on. Like, you look at some of the comments, oh, you've done this and that. It's not my decision. I still think I won, and so does a lot of people I know think I won. And even fans, a fair few have put on there, I thought you won the fight. I don't know what all the comments are about, but it's one of them ones. And if you didn't, it wasn't me who raised my hand. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones. It was 39-37. It was a close fight. That shows it was a close fight. However, I believe I was the better fighter on the night, and I looked the better fighter.
Was there pressure?
Oh,
debut,
mate.
Sky Sports, yeah.
Unbelievable pressure, yeah, and it's a different sort of pressure, especially with lockdown. I perform with the crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like, no people say, oh, there's all them people in the audience. See that there? I'll look over them, or I take it all in. Do you know what I mean? That's like, let's go. Bit of cheering going on, especially me. I sell a great ticket. That is what I had. But you know, it's a weird old feeling. People who box during lockdown will know. When you're in that ring, it's dead silent. It's like the bell rings, and it's you can hear someone whispering over the corner. Do you know what I mean? It's dead silent, and not that you got to stay focused. You're focused anyway. It's only 4 rounds, but it's like a weird one. Do you know what I mean? When you can hear everything, everything becomes surreal. But yeah, it's the same for the other person, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
What did you make of the commentary from Adam Smith and Matthew Macklin?
Team Ardon fans, but nah, listen, it was their opinion at the end of the day. They've watched enough boxing in their time. They're not stupid people, and if that's what they believe, then it takes a better man than myself to take that away from them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, listen, they're entitled to it, and I listen to it back, and sometimes I do think when they've said that maybe they exaggerate a bit, but it's not. When you're watching it first hand, remember, I'm watching it back coming off of it, or I'm looking it back in my defence kind of thing. When you're watching it first hand, you say what's on your mind, and that's exactly what they've done. So yeah, listen, I'm not sitting here and having a go at them, because I'm not here to do that, and if we've moved on from it, do you know what I mean? But no, fair play to them. Look, fair play to everyone, and I had a tweet of Tony Bellew, do you know what I mean? That weren't going to be happening a week ago. So yeah, I've got myself out there, my name's been made, and now it's just time to prove these people who are hating that I am what I talk to be, I am what I make out. So it's only going to make my second fight now so much more exciting than what it would be. Just before we talk about the future, I want to go to Sam Jones's tweet, and I guess this is in relation to picking a southpaw fighter, someone you weren't preparing for. He said it was his fault. He's taken the bullet for your, let's say, you won the fight on paper, but say your below par performance. I don't know if that's a fair enough comment. Yeah, definitely. Sam's taken the bullet for that. What do you think about it? How do you feel about that? Listen, with that, Umar, I know I see Sam's point. I'm a kid. He see me getting the stick, and he blamed a bit of it on himself. And listen, I'm not one to blame anyone. At the end of the day, whether that opponent was a southpaw, orthodox, self-orthodox, he could have been anything. I'm better than that performance. So, only person who I let myself down in that performance, because there was so much more I could have gave. But he blamed himself, but that was him just being nice, I believe. But listen, it's one of them ones. We're a team, and we had a bad performance, got through it as a team, but it was still a bit of a low. So you go through the bad times, you go through the good times. And I'm sure by the second performance, and then you see the real John Hedges, then people forget about that first one and you move on. Like I say, and that's what will happen. But fair play to Sam. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have to put that tweet out there, and he did. So big respect to him for that. Well, that's good that he's standing by you, and even though he's half blaming himself, you're saying, I'm still not going to blame you. So. Yeah, it's because it's not, he's not the one in the ring. At the end of the day, there's 2 men, you both fight, there'll be one winner. It's not down to him to, I don't believe in the hand-picking opponents as such. I could have had a bit of an easier fight, I do get that, but at the end of the day, I big myself up as a better fighter than these fighters. So if I can't beat them, then really, I'm not the deal I'm making out to be. But on your first fight, I can understand what he's saying. It should have been a bit more. You should be able to prepare for it and things like that, including the age and things. But it's one of them ones. We got through it, and that's the main thing. Positives are it's a win on paper. Exactly. You'll have double the amount of viewers on your second fight. Yeah, exactly. And we've got the talking going. People are wondering now. Like, listen, I would be the same if I'd just seen all these interviews, all this massive amateur background. Now they want to see what I'm made of. Well, they'll find out next fight. Do you think you'll be out soon? I'm talking to Eddie soon, got a meeting coming up. To be fair, Omar, I'm not in no rush. We said this from the start, I wanted to get my debut there. I was not rushing, but I was rushing myself, do you know what I mean? Like, me personally, I couldn't wait the box. So whether it was like last minute fight opponent or whatever, I was fighting. This is the sport, we're born to fight, and I just wanted to fight. So now I've had my debut, I can just go back to the drawing board kind of thing and work on everything, build myself up, which I knew I needed to do anyway. Pack on a bit of muscle, put on a bit of weight, and then I'll still make super middle. I made it comfortably, do you know what I mean? So it all depends now. I might enjoy my Christmas, it's whatever, it's down to boss man Eddie, and if he says, listen, you're out next week, I'll make sure I'm ready. And I don't need a long training camp, I'm born to fight. That's the way I look at it. If he gives me an opportunity, I will fight, I won't pull out. So I think a point that someone raised, I can't remember who it was, but a lot of great fighters, the best ever, have struggled on their professional debut, if not lost it. See, not your case, but look at Bernard Hopkins. I'm not trying to compare things. I'm just saying. Look at Johnny Nelson. How many fights he lost? He lost his first 3, didn't he? Yeah. So people writing you off now might sort of eat their own words in the future. Please God, look, that's my main thing, and I'm quite coming over all of this and like having this all now in my past. It's not a bad thing to have. It's not a bad thing people to see you perform one of your worst performances on live television, because once they've seen you how bad you was then the next performance they're like, bloody hell, is that the same kid? Do you know what I mean? It makes them think, and it's just you've then done what you've said you're going to do. Like, you've owned up to it, which I have. It's not a great performance, but now I've corrected it. I've gone into the gym, I've put the work in, I've put the extra hours, and I've come back with a bang, and I've just proved why I believe I will make it, why I've got the right mindset, I've got the right ability, and the right people behind me.
Well, listen, John, I appreciate you opening up on your professional debut. I don't think you've done a proper interview since that fight, have you?
Nah, literally, I thought, you know what, with all this stick, I'm staying off media. So I just stay quiet, to be fair, but yeah, it's the first one back.
Yeah, appreciate you giving me that time. I'm sure we'll catch up soon and have some news on your second fight, alright?
Lovely. See you in a bit, people.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.